On a rainy Thursday night in downtown Seattle, the kind where neon lights bled across wet pavement, Claire Whitford. Yes, that Claire Whitford, the reclusive billionaire behind Whitford Holdings, walked into Harbor Grill looking like someone the world had forgotten. No security detail. No designer coat. Just a woman in a damp thrift store jacket trying to vanish into the noise. She had barely taken her seat when the insult cut across the room. Table 7. Don't bother. She can't afford anything decent. Two brokers smirked at their own joke, unaware they were mocking a woman who could buy the entire block before dessert. Claire's jaw tightened, but she kept her eyes on the menu, letting the sting hit where no one could see. A waiter with tired eyes and a frayed apron stopped beside her. His voice was low but steady. "Ma'am, if anyone talks to you like that again, I'll handle it." "Handle what?" one broker sneered. "She looks lost." Claire looked up just in time to see the waiter slip a folded note beneath her water glass. A deliberate gesture. Quiet rebellion. A spark she wasn't expecting. And when she opened it, the night, along with everything she thought she knew about herself, shifted instantly. If this moment pulls you in, like the video and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales for more powerful stories. The moment Claire touched the folded note, the noise of Harbor Grill softened into a distant hum. She slid it open under the table, careful not to draw attention, even though the brokers were too busy congratulating themselves to notice anything beyond their own voices. 7 words, handwritten in a tight, slanted script. "You deserve respect. I've got your back." Her breath stilled. No one had said anything like that to her in years. Not as Claire Whitford the billionaire. Not as the power behind Whitford Holdings. Not even as a human being who had grown used to being useful but unseen. She looked up. The waiter, his name tag read Ethan Hale, was already moving toward another table, carrying a tray with the practiced steadiness of someone used to shouldering more than dishes. The frayed apron, the faded sneakers, the slight limp in his right leg. Signs of a man who worked through everything life threw at him and didn't ask for applause. For a moment, Claire just watched him navigate the room with quiet focus. That was when one of the brokers leaned close to his companion, smirking. "Guy's playing hero for the wrong woman," he muttered. "She couldn't even tip him $5. His friend snorted. "Look at that jacket. She's lucky they even seated her." The words cracked something inside her. Not pain. She was used to being underestimated when she dressed like this, but the casual certainty in their tone, the way they spoke as if cruelty were entertainment. Ethan returned with a glass of water for another table, but his eyes flicked toward Claire. He noticed the brokers staring at her again. His jaw tensed, a shift of pressure in the air, a tension thick enough to taste. Then Claire watched something unfold that she hadn't expected. A young busboy brushed past Ethan and whispered, just loud enough for Claire to catch a fragment. "They're talking about her again. Manager says don't get involved." Ethan whispered back, "I'm not letting them harass her. Not tonight. Not tonight." Those 2 words felt like a shield placed gently between her and the world. Moments later, the brokers escalated again. "Hey, sweetheart," one called across the aisle, lifting his martini. "You need me to cover your appetizer too?" The room quieted. A few heads turned. A couple at the next table grimaced. Claire kept still. Her instinct was to retreat, stay small, slip into invisibility. She'd spent years doing exactly that, even with billions behind her. But Ethan reached her table before she had to decide anything. He leaned down, speaking quietly but firmly. "You owe them nothing," he said. "And you're not alone. Not while I'm here." His voice wasn't heroic or dramatic. It was steady, real. The kind of tone born from experience, not performance. The brokers laughed again, louder this time, clearly amused by Ethan's attempt to intervene. Ethan straightened, turned to face them and said calmly, "Gentlemen, focus on your meal. Leave her in peace." The shorter broker scoffed. "Or what? You'll ban us. You don't get paid enough to tell us anything." His friend added, "Relax, man. People like her are used to being talked down to." That last sentence landed like a slap to the table. In another life, Claire would have revealed who she was and watched their arrogance crumble. But tonight wasn't about her power. Tonight was about seeing someone else stand up when he had nothing to gain. The manager, a thick-necked man with a permanent scowl, emerged from the kitchen just in time to hear Ethan's warning. He marched forward, voice sharp. "Hail, office. Now." Ethan hesitated. Claire saw it. The tiny moment where he weighed protecting her against keeping his job. Then he whispered to her, "I'll be back." Inside the narrow office hallway, muffled voices rose, sharp and clipped. The manager's accusations hit the air like thrown darts. "You don't lecture paying customers. You don't pick fights. You don't act like some kind of savior." Ethan's replies were quieter but resolute. "I won't let anyone be humiliated here. She's just trying to eat. There's a line you don't cross." The manager's voice dropped to a venomous tone. "You're 1 inch from being fired. You keep this up, you're gone. Understand?" The door burst open. Ethan stepped out, expression tight but controlled, shoulders squared as if holding back something heavier than anger. The brokers smirked. One lifted his drink again. "Told you. Play stupid games." But then something shifted in the room. Ethan didn't return to their table. He walked straight to Claire. "Your food's coming out soon," he said softly, trying and failing to hide the strain in his voice. Claire wanted to speak. She wanted to apologize, defend him, thank him. But before she could, something unexpected happened. The elderly couple 2 tables over stood up. The wife approached Ethan and whispered, "Thank you for saying something. People should treat each other better." Her husband nodded in agreement. A group of college students further down raised their hands. "Hey man, ignore those jerks. You didn't do anything wrong." It spread, quiet ripples of support breaking across the room. But the brokers were not done. One stood, swaying slightly from his drink, and sneered at Ethan. "You're really enjoying this attention, aren't you? Bet you think you're some kind of hero now." Ethan didn't answer. He turned away. The broker grabbed his arm. That single touch sliced through the atmosphere. Claire stood. The rest of the room held its breath. Ethan turned back, eyes locked on the man's hand. His voice dropped to a controlled warning. "Let go." The broker laughed. "Or what? You're going to cry to your boss?" "Oh wait, he wants you gone." "Let him go," Claire said, her voice steady, clear, carried by something deeper than fear. The broker turned, ready to mock her again, but froze. Her hood had fallen back. The overhead lights illuminated her face fully now. Recognition hit slowly, then all at once. Wait, no way. That's..." His friend grabbed his sleeve. "Dude, shut up. That's Claire Whitford. Whitford Holdings. I've seen her in the Chronicle." Whispers rippled. A tech CEO at Table 9 whispered, "She's worth billions." Someone near the bar nearly dropped their fork. 2 servers exchanged looks of stunned disbelief. Ethan blinked, thrown off balance. "You're Claire Whitford." Claire met his eyes and nodded once. "Yes. And he," she gestured toward the broker, "is about to learn what consequences look like." Silence exploded into an invisible pressure as she reached into her tote, pulled out her phone, and typed something with the sharpness of a woman who had negotiated mergers worth more than the restaurant's entire yearly revenue. She lifted her gaze to the brokers. "Your firm, Halden and Pierce, handles real estate portfolios for my company." "Or handled." The shorter broker paled. "Wait, Ms. Whitford, please." His friend stumbled forward, hands slightly raised. "It was a misunderstanding. We didn't know." "That's exactly the problem," Claire said. "You only respect people when you know they have power." The room vibrated with quiet satisfaction. She hit send. A tone chirped from both brokers' phones. They looked down. Their faces collapsed. Claire continued. "By the time you step outside, your clearance is revoked, your accounts are frozen, and your firm has been notified of your breach of conduct. I'm sure they'll handle the rest." Ethan stood still, eyes wide. The manager hurried over, sweating. "Ms. Whitford, if my staff has offended you." "You," Claire said. "Oh, Ethan, an apology." The manager stiffened. Ethan acted out of integrity, she cut in. "Something you clearly don't value." Gasps moved through the restaurant. Claire faced Ethan. "You deserve better than this place. If you're willing, I'd like to offer you a position." The manager sputtered. "He has a contract here." "No," Ethan said quietly. "I quit." The room erupted into soft applause. The brokers stood frozen, their humiliation complete, their careers shattered in real time, courtesy of the woman they had dismissed the moment she walked in. Claire turned toward them one last time. "You chose the wrong night to be cruel." And with that line, the night shifted into something none of them were prepared for. But the real fallout, the one that would hit the brokers, the manager, and everyone watching, had only just begun. When the door of Harbor Grill closed behind her, Claire felt the night air settle differently on her skin, lighter, as if the weight she'd carried for years had begun to loosen. She walked beside Ethan in silence for a moment, both unsure of what to call whatever had just shifted between them. It wasn't gratitude. It wasn't charity. It was something steadier, something that didn't need to be named to be real. Ethan finally broke the quiet. "You didn't have to step in like that." Claire shook her head. "You stood up for me when you didn't know who I was. That means more than you think." He didn't argue. He only nodded, the faintest smile pulling at the corner of his mouth, as if he, too, had discovered something unexpected inside himself. At the next intersection, their paths split. Claire paused, watching the glow from the restaurant windows fade behind them. For the first time in a long while, she didn't feel like she was walking back into an empty life. She felt like someone who had finally remembered how to show up, for herself and for others. She reached into her pocket, brushing her fingers over Ethan's note, its folded edges softened from being held too tightly. It wasn't the words that stayed with her. It was what they made possible. Sometimes a single act of courage doesn't change the world, but it can change a person enough that the world finally feels different. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales so we can keep bringing you powerful moments that matter.